Welcome everybody, Kristina Wolf here, and welcome to Energy Mastery, creating systems that support your best life. Today we have with us Candace Gray. And Candace, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself, please?
Yes, hello, loves. My name is Candace Gray, and I'm a therapeutic entrepreneurial coach. So what do I do? I'm sure you're like, what is a therapeutic entrepreneurial coach? I work with entrepreneurs to really conquer the emotional and mental challenges like fears, self-sabotaging behaviors, and limiting beliefs that are really affecting the productivity and profitability of their business.
Yeah, definitely. That's I think the focus of this entire series, and it's helping entrepreneurs get out of their own way and do things that feel good so they stay in the flow. So tell me, how do you accomplish this?
So what I like to do is with my clients, there's a couple of ways that I work with my clients. I have group programs and I have one-on-one programs, but it's really about exploring the root of these emotional and mental challenges. You know, I feel like so many of us have had past experiences that are affecting the way we operate in life today. In essence, it's affecting our business. And I love, what you're doing when it comes to the energy, because that's one of the things I talk to my clients about is, managing their energy, managing their time, managing their resources, so that they can have a flow. And it's not just about an external flow in our space, but it's about an internal flow in our emotions and making sure we're clearing the clutter inside as well.
Yeah, because that can have, subconscious effects you're not aware. Maybe I'm always late because I really just hate coming to this job, or, they don't want to acknowledge the root cause of maybe some of their self-sabotaging behaviors. And tell me, in relation to what I think is most people are, telltale signs that their energy's out of balance. They're always running late, their time management's off, their personal energy, they either go from super manic, I'm excited, I'm in the flow and I'm working on a project and nobody bothered me, mad scientist, to I'm exhausted, I just don't talk to me for a week, to I just made $6,000 on one contract and now I have no money, we're living off of ramen noodles. There's no flow, there's no in between. Can you speak about that a little bit?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's crazy that you even say that, because so many of my clients are like that. There is no balance. I hate to say the word balance because I feel like balance is very, very elusive. But when it comes to that up and down, and there's that energy that's displaced in so many different ways, one thing that rings true for everybody, I feel like, is boundaries. Boundaries are important, whether we're talking time management, whether we're talking energy management, money management. It's important to have boundaries set in place. Otherwise, you're going to burn out in all three areas.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important to have boundaries with yourself. If you say, well, this morning I'm going to get up at 8 o'clock and I'm going to go work out. Well, it erodes at your sense of self-esteem or efficiency or productivity if you don't keep those commitments to yourself. Yeah, definitely. And how you're showing up for other people as well, they're going to respond the same.
Absolutely. It flows through, I feel like this, you have to be a man or woman of your word. If you say you're going to do it, then do it. And it's not just about to other people, but it's about to yourself, because the way that you operate in the dark is the way that you're going to operate in the light. And you've got to practice these behaviors.
Yes, the practice, definitely. I think that's important. It's a, are you still there? I think I might have lost you. Hello? Do we still have you here? Do I have you?
I'm here. Everything froze for a moment.
Oh, there was a little pause there. Whoops. Okay, we're going to get right back on track, which is another example, once you fall off the wagon, how to get right back on. So
Absolutely.
What we were saying was you were talking about the boundaries and, well, anyways, let's move. Let's keep going. It was related to time management and keeping your promises to yourself. And
yes.
And again, you say that balance thing, to me, it literally, it was related to habits. It's something that you have to foster, something that you have to work at. And I won't say work at it like it's a chore, but it's not a automatic thing. So these good habits of creating boundaries, being on time, that kind of thing. If you've always been late in your life, then you can change now. It may be like stopping horses in midstream again, but it can be changed. It's a habit.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And one of the things for me is, especially because I've come across so many people with, this whole punctuality thing, and I've always been very good as far as being punctual. But then there was a time where I found myself being late. Like, Candace, what is going on with you? Like, you've got to get it together. And so what I found that worked for me was really practicing time blocking, because I would tend to put so much on my schedule thinking that I can do everything, but I don't have any contingency plans. I don't have any buffer spaces. Things happen, meetings run over, things start early, emergencies happen, and it's difficult to manage all that if you haven't properly prepared.
Right. And it's good that you recognize that too, right? I think it's important that our listeners take a little time to kind of examine their habits and say, well, for me, I know meeting deadlines, I used to scramble until the last, wait till the last minute and then scramble, because for whatever reason that urgency kept me motivated. Yes. But I just heard something earlier today, and it was a really great quote. It said, motivation is the opposite of inspiration. It's like motivation is like it forces you to do something. But inspiration, it's just like comes from inside. You're naturally, feeling inclined to do something. And I think that's the place that we as entrepreneurs absolutely have to work from, because nobody else is going to be there to push you. You got to push yourself. Yeah. So you're saying that, again, boundaries kind of overarch the majority of these points: time management, energy, and money. So again, we talked about time. What about personal energy?
So, you know what, Kristina, here's the thing, is when it comes to the boundaries, when we're talking about, of course, time management, it's really about, blocking off your time where necessary, adding buffers where necessary, learning how to say no. And I think that actually transcends even to energy management, because outside of a time being the resource that we cannot renew that. When it's gone, it's gone. It's the same thing as the energy. We only have so much energy that we can exert in a given 24 hours. And I think it's really important to practice boundaries when it comes to our energy as well, and learning to say no. Yeah. Many times maybe we feel obligated to do certain things. We feel guilty if we don't do certain things. Certain things we just want to do, but we can't do everything. And then we tend to burn ourselves out because we have not been able to practice the art of saying no.
And I don't know if this is true for you, but there's no worse feeling than doing something you don't want to do. Oh, God. How draining is that on your energy, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then though that energy carries over to the next thing, a lot of times, I've come from places where I'm dreading what's going on in the moment, but I'm looking forward to what's next. But by the time I get to what's next, I'm like, I need to get my energy back up because I'm so drained.
Right. And also even recognizing that this happens. What do you tell your clients? How do you counteract that?
For the energy management, mm-hmm. I think it's really about, number one, understanding your body, understanding what your limits are. Even if you're just tracking over the course of a week, tracking your activities for the day, understand what time of the day you feel like you have the most energy, because everyone's different. Are you most energetic in the morning, early afternoon, the evenings, later at night? And you want to be sure that that's the time that you're the most productive. Not necessarily busy, but productive, when your energy is at its highest. So it's really about assessing, yourself to see, when am I most energetic, so that way I can maximize that time.
Right. And then out of that space, how do you feel that relates to people's money management?
For me, boundaries cross the whole thing, because it's about our choices in money management. And once again, learning to say no to those things that maybe are not a necessity. Many times we have these spending patterns, or we're not paying attention to our money, and they're not priorities, they're not necessities. And we get to the end of our budget and we're like, dang, I didn't take care of this, I didn't take care of that. Now I got to scratch over here to get this and scratch over here to get that, because we mismanaged our money.
And I have observed, in myself in particular, emotional spending.
Oh gosh.
That piece there that a lot of people don't acknowledge, or they hadn't even thought about it. You're spending money, you don't have to have that feeling of freedom or that feeling of pleasure, but then you get the item and you're like, maybe I ought to return this.
Baby, it's an illusion. It is an illusion. And you hit the nail on the head when you say it's that feeling of freedom. And I have had so many instances, especially when I was younger, where I felt like I had too many I deserve it days. Like, I've been working hard, and I was young in college. I'm like, I'm working hard, I'm getting good grades. I had like 3 new credit cards. I deserve it. Yeah. Baby, when I tell you I maxed out those credit cards because I was emotionally spending. Yeah. Not on priorities. I was buying stereos and just crazy stuff.
Right.
Out of emotion. And then at the end of the semester, I'm scrounging for money because I got a stereo here and I got this electronic over here and this over here and no money.
Right. And I think it relates to even deeper than that, a scarcity mindset. And that's another one of those elusive phrases that I hear a lot. But to me, that means that I don't believe in the abundance of my daily life, so I have to go out and seek that thrill by spending money I don't have, or spending energy I don't have, or spending time I don't have doing things like you stay up real late and watch a movie because you have an allotted pleasure time, and then you're tired the next day because you allotted your time towards something instead of it's a give or take. I could have been sleeping, but I stayed up and had fun instead. Yes. Instead of well, you know what? I schedule this block of time on this day to make sure I have time to watch movies and relax and do nothing else, or even if it's a daily thing. It's definitely, again, those boundaries with yourself, and people treat you the way you teach them to treat you.
Absolutely. And it's crazy because as you were talking about that, and the scarcity mindset, what I've also come to understand is that sometimes that scarcity mindset can go one of 2 ways. Number one, we're excessive and we think we're never going to get it again. So we do. But then the opposite way is that we hoard. Like, oh, no, I'm not giving you my energy. I'm not giving you my time. And we hold on to all of that.
Yeah.
So, it can go one or 2 ways, and when you're holding on to it, that's that scarcity mindset as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Tell me, do you give like assignments to clients, or how do you get them to move from this dysfunctional mindset into a more balanced, for lack of a better term, mindset?
So for me, yes, especially with my one-on-one, because my background is in marriage and family therapy, I'm very, very good at dealing with what is brought to me week by week. So I do absolutely give assignments, but the way that I work is always about going to the root, finding the root first, because there's no way you can treat something if you don't know where it's coming from. That's like going to the doctor saying my stomach hurts and they give you a bottle of Pepto-Bismol. Well, what if it has nothing to do with just the intestines and, you're just having a crappy stomach? What if it's something deeper? Yeah. So it's always about finding what the root cause is so that we can properly treat it. So for me, it's always about delving deep to find out what the root is. And then we're going to take practical steps to not only transform our mind and the way we move forward, but we're going to walk it out in our actions. So there's always an action plan with me that helps you practically move through these steps so that you can see the results tangibly in your life and in your business.
So give me an example. I come to you for, I'm always late, and it's affecting my business. what would you tell me? What kind of assignment would you give me?
Well, number one, I'm gonna start off with assessing. You're always late to everything. It's a certain types of events that you're late to, just to figure out what it is. Are you late to certain things, or are you late to everything?
Let's say I'm just late to everything. Like,
you're late to everything. So then I'm gonna talk to you about, your priorities, because a lot of times we're late to things because we don't prioritize it. It's not high on our priority list. We don't have a lot of value in it. Mm-hmm. But there could be even deeper underlying issues than with time management. So number one, I'm gonna tell you, let's start tracking. Let's really track what you're late to, how late you are, what you're doing that's making you late. And then we're going to talk about the underlying thoughts. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking when you're on the way? Or are you thinking anything at all? Do you even care? So I'm going to ask you these questions to figure out what your thoughts are and what the emotions are in the process.
Like, oh my gosh, I'm late again. Why do I always do this? I should have left 20 minutes earlier. Da, 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 da. What do you say for that kind of chatter?
Stuff like that. And this is the crazy thing is Kristina, because that therapeutic part of me always goes back to, was that modeled for you? Where did you learn that from? Were you always late growing up? Was somebody else, were your parents or your role models, were they always late? These are things that you've got to understand first. Yeah. I can give you a lot of the assignments moving forward, but if you don't understand where it's coming from, these assignments are going to fall off the wayside because you don't even know why you do it. So for me, it's a matter of, let's figure out why you're doing it. Let's track some things. Let's find out what the thoughts and the emotions are behind it. Now let's move forward productively. Let's pick a task and say, okay, how can I manage my time, block out my time so that I can leave early enough to get there on time? Mm-hmm. And then if I get there on time, what is the reward? What kind of reward will I either give myself, or will it just automatically happen if I'm on time? Mm-hmm. So it's a process. Everything is a process.
So what would a daily assignment be for an entrepreneur that's coming to you and saying, I know I've been late, but I'm really tired. I just feel like I committed to too many other things that aren't maybe income generating activities, or I know that I have this goal, but I haven't been able to meet it this week because I'm too busy meeting everybody else's needs and my family. Where do you go with that?
So what I would probably do is, number one, accountability, but I would sit down with them and I would explore their schedule. Like, let's take a look at the last month. And let's go through, day by day if we can, or even just the last 2 weeks. Day by day if we can, to figure out where your time is going, what you're doing, how can you manage it a bit better, how can we move certain things to different days, is this even necessary, can we remove this off of the calendar, so that you have enough space and time in your day to breathe, to relax, to transition to your next appointment, your next meeting, whatever the case may be. It's really about getting to the nitty-gritty of your calendar, laying it out, and let's figure out what we can move around, what we can eliminate, how we can add some things that give you that peace during the day, if you have to take a couple of breaks. And it really just depends on the person, but it's really about getting into the nitty-gritty of that calendar. If we want to talk about practical ways to move forward, how can we eliminate things? How can we space some time? How can we add buffers?
And maybe how would you have them track it? Like some kind of journal, or just sort of one day at a time, or you said an entire week, right?
So I would say, like, let's just say we're going to go back and track. We can track the last 2 weeks. So I would say go grab your calendar. And if you can kind of mentally go back and see every day what you did, why you were late, what was happening that made you late. Do you feel like it was too much maybe that was scheduled that day? Because we want to see a pattern. So we're going to go back and look for the pattern. Then moving forward, now let's record it. You can journal it. You can put it on your calendar, whether it's like a desktop calendar, whether it's in your phone, it doesn't make a difference. But once we're able to track the patterns, now let's see moving forward, how can we move some things around and record it every single day. What I'm doing, where I'm at, how much time I spent, what are your time wasters? Those are huge. We have so many time wasters and we don't even think about it.
How much Facebook scrolling you do instead of...
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely. Well, Candace, this interview went by so quick. Would you like to direct our listeners to where they can find you if they're more interested in the things that you're teaching?
Absolutely, absolutely. You can find me at rafahealing.com. I gotta spell it because people are gonna be like, what? So rafahealing.com is ROPHE and then the word healing.com. No spaces, ROPHE healing.com.
All right. And what will they find a link for any kind of special gift there or something like that?
Absolutely. If you go to rafahealing.com, you can go to my freebies and courses page, and there's a couple of freebies there for you to have access to. There's a fear and confidence audio, if you're really struggling with, getting through these fears and finding confidence to move forward in your business. There's a couple of other ones, in regards to really honing in on your zone of genius and your strengths and your skills and discovering your passion. So there's a couple of goodies there for you. You can go explore.
All right. Well, that's so awesome. I mean, I know we could talk for hours about this whole concept. So thank you again for your time. And I hope our listeners enjoyed this interview. And we'll talk with you soon.
Thank you so much, Kristina.
Thank you.